Welcome to the Hollywood Outsider, an award-winning weekly entertainment podcast. This is our 2024 summer movie preview episode. We're going to take you through each and every month through May through August and discuss every major theatrical and streaming release coming your way, as well as some indies to keep an eye out for. So get ready to make some plans because it's now time for our 2024 summer movie preview. My name is Aaron Peterson. Joining me today is my fellow Ho, Troy Heinrichs.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And former Ho, returning to get in on this reading action, is Brian Williams.
Glad to be back. And always a Ho.
That's right.
OG Ho.
OG. OG Ho.
Is that a hog or a hoog?
I think it's a hog. Yeah.
Did you call him Brian just because there's so much reading this week? Is that what it is? Arjan needed a day off?
Oh, God. Imagine, right? Just imagine.
Love you, buddy.
Imagine.
I mean, we knew Amanda wasn't going to be here, so it's fine.
Yeah, Amanda was supposed to be here, but she had something going on. She's got some life stuff going on. And by the way, Brian, people can't see you, but you've got like a do-rag. Is that a hat or a do-rag? I can't decide.
No, it's a hat.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you were joining a doo-wop group.
When have you ever seen me wear a do-rag? I mean, there was that stint in prison, I guess. I wore it for a little bit. But
it fit right in with P. Diddy, so that works out.
I mean, they can't see Brian, but I have to say, Brian, I haven't seen you since the cruise, and you are looking mighty fine right now.
Well, thank you, buddy. It's good to see you.
Absolutely.
It's good to see you.
I didn't know it was going to go on like that.
Because he lives down there by the cruise ships all the time, so he just has that natural glow. Like, we have to, wait for a Ho cruise to get the tan.
Well, that's because he has sunshine all the time. It does help in Florida when we're in the Midwest, and it's always cold and gray, and we've seen the sun. Just the eclipse was like the first time we saw it, I think.
Yeah. Imagine that. The only day it comes out is when it's going to be missing.
Exactly. Bullshit. Okay. Well, here's what we're going to do is we're going to go through the movies coming out this summer. We're going to basically tell you what's coming out each major week, and then we'll discuss anything that we want to discuss as we go. But yeah, there's a lot of titles and a lot of information coming your way. If you got a pen, you may want to grab a pen, grab a pad, write some of this down. We already did the work. This is easy for you. Just start thinking where you want to see this year. I don't know if that's really a selling point. I don't think I did a very good job of that.
Yeah, work on your pitch. Maybe edit it in there later.
All right, well, we're going to go through May through Labor Day and tell you what's coming out. So I'm going to start with this first week. And on May 2nd, The Idea of You is coming to Prime. It's about a middle-aged woman who embarks on a global love affair. It's got Anne Hathaway and Nicholas Galtzine. Galtzine? He really should get his name changed.
Just roll with it.
I'm with that.
Just roll with it.
Turtles All the Way Down, PG-13 coming to Max. A 16-year-old high school girl with obsessive-compulsive disorder tries to solve the mystery of a fugitive billionaire. Along with her friend Daisy, she sets out to claim a $100,000 reward. I believe he's missing. And that's got Isabella Merced in it. And then on May 3rd, The Fall Guy. Yes, it's coming into theaters. That's got Colt Seavers. He's a Hollywood stuntman by day, but he works as a bounty hunter by night, kind of. He's basically trying to find out what happened to a major star that has disappeared, and they need him for this action film that is directed by the love of his life. So he incorporates his stunts into the bounty hunting, flying vehicles over large objects, jumping from impossibly high angles, etc., and all in the effort to save his lady love. And it's directed by a stuntman extraordinaire, David Leitch, and stars Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. Saw that one at South by Southwest. I've already talked about it on that episode, but I will tell you, it's a fun movie. I saw The TV Glow is coming to theaters. Two teenage outcasts bond over their shared love of a scary television show, but the boundary between TV and reality begins to blur after it is mysteriously canceled. And that stars Justice Smith and Bridget Lundy Payne. I did see that at South by Southwest too. I would recommend seeing The Fall Guy. That's what I would tell you. And of course, we also have Unfrosted coming to Netflix. And that's a story about the invention of Pop-Tarts. This is the movie that Jerry Seinfeld put together. It's got an all-star cast with Melissa McCarthy and Amy Schumer and Max Greenfield and Christian Slater. And also written and directed and stars Jerry Seinfeld. And also, lastly is Wildcat, which explores the life and work of a young Flannery O'Connor as she battles lupus and struggles to publish her first novel. This is Ethan Hawke directing his daughter, Maya Hawke, which is interesting. So of all that, I just got to say, okay, Brian, you haven't been here in a while. All of that, what really tickles your fancy the most?
Well, I'm pretty shallow on a number of things here, but I mean, the Fall Guy really is the one that gets me the most. I've heard nothing even outside of your praises that have been sung for the Fall Guy. I mean, it's got action, comedy, hot people. It's just perfect formula. People. So I'm good for that. But I'm actually curious about Wildcat, even though those are some of the worst Southern accents I've ever heard in a movie.
Trailer. Yeah.
I am familiar with Flannery O'Connor's work. I've even visited her house in Savannah.
Was she home or you just drove by?
I knocked, nobody answered, but whatever.
That's what happens when you're dead, I think.
Yeah, a little slow to get to the door. Yeah, the cinematography looks pretty neat in it. It's the atmospheric stuff, the way they explore the way her mind's working and seeing the thoughts, the ideas that she has is pretty imaginative. So I'm giving that one a chance.
Troy, what about you?
I was super excited. I was like, Turtles all the way down. We had one Ninja Turtle movie last year. Now we get a second Ninja Turtle movie. And I was like, whoa, we're going to the whole thing's going to take place in the sewers. This is awesome. And then I read the description and was sorely disappointed. But it does look like it would be a really fun romp. I love mysteries and solving murder cases and things of that nature. So I love that the whole concept about someone, it's like Monk meets Nancy Drew, I think is what this is going to be. And that kind of has me intrigued on what that's going to happen for Turtles. Obviously the Fall Guy, can't escape Ryan Gosling no matter where we go. And Emily Blunt being here also just gives it that much more credence. So let's go ahead and all see the Fall Guy together. Kind of a hoe outing. I think that would be super fun. I saw the TV Glow, had me both intrigued and scared to death because anybody that's probably listening to this podcast knows Poltergeist and me do not get along at all.
It's not like Poltergeist though. I know that there's a scene in the trailer where the head's in the TV. Is that what you're referring to?
Because then on the other side, I love The Ring. The Ring is totally
not
awesome.
like that either.
So I was like, which side of the coin is this one going to land on? So, but I'm also not a horror person. So, I'm interested to see where this one goes, but I might wait a little bit to see. And of course, Aaron's review was, obviously go see something else from South by Southwest. So probably not going to give it time. But Unfrosted, I love me a Pop-Tart for sure. And I love Jerry Seinfeld.
I love me a Pop-Tart.
I do. It is the quintessential breakfast food. Like you're on the go and you want that frosted goodness, cold, toasted, you can eat them either way. But I love Seinfeld. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. I love what Curb Your Enthusiasm did for its final season to kind of talk about the finale of Seinfeld. But that was a brilliant move. So anything these guys touch usually turns to comedy gold. And you got Melissa McCarthy and Amy Schumer and Christian Slater. It's like, why would you not watch this?
Yeah, I'll be watching it for Christian Slater for sure.
I just want to see Bill Burr as JFK a lot more. That cracked me up. What a swing. What a swing. I give Seinfeld props. Well, I will recommend Fall Guy. I'm telling you, I saw the TV Glow. I saw the whole thing, and I have rarely been that disappointed in a film. I hope everybody that does watch it enjoys it much more than I did. I know the reviews are good. Don't get it, but people are entitled to like what they like. But that's typical for A24 though, right? The studio. It's that, at least with me, that's how it is there's no middle ground. It's I love it or I want to flatten somebody's tires for making that.
Was it good until the end or was it just not good the whole way through?
The first half hour is really engrossing because it's more, the first half hour of the movie is really about how TV impacts younger people and how they really kind of grow, their identity becomes kind of attached to some of those shows that they grew up with, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and things like that. And it's It's really about identity. The whole movie is really about identity. I don't want to give it all away, but it's really about identity and awakening and that sort of thing. But after that first half where it's really engaging, it goes A24. It goes full A24. And that's you're either going to love it or hate it. I agree with Brian. There's no middle ground on that one at all.
I don't understand this concept of like TV influencing childhoods at all.
Sure, Troy.
Yeah,
sure.
I don't know. Yo, Joe, roll out.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next week.
Well played. All right.
Well, our first one for the week of May 8th, 9th, 10th is going to be coming to Disney Plus, and that is The Beatles, Let It Be. It was first released in 1970 amidst a swirl of the Beatles breakup, and now it has been miraculously restored, obviously starring Paul, John, George, Ringo. Definitely check this one out if you are a Beatles fan on May 8th. Because on May 10th, we're all freaking going to see what happens when the apes fight the apes. That's right. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is coming to theaters. It's a new Planet of the Apes film. It's not technically part of the original 3 from Dawn, War, Rise, and all that fun stuff, but it still kind of features some people that you might know from those movies. So pay close attention. William H. Macy's there. We got lots of great voiceover work coming in from Kevin Durant. So just make sure you check out Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I think this one's going to be really great, personally. I'm super stoked.
Well, you love those movies, right?
I did. The War, Dawn, Rise were so good. Matt Reeves did such a great job reinvigorating that series. I just hope that it continues the trajectory that it's on and not going back to, Mark Wahlberg days that we don't talk about. Tarot comes to theaters as well. After attending a horoscope party, people begin dying in ways connected to their zodiac signs.
Oh, no.
I'm trying to figure that out now. How do I die as a Capricorn? What is a Capricorn? 4 friends must work together to solve the mystery before their numbers are up. Lisa Dutton, Spencer Cohen, Anna Hallberg are here for Tarot. And then we close out our theater run that week with We Grown Now, rated PG. In 1992, Chicago, Michael Jordan solidifies himself as a champion. The story of 2 young legends in their own right begins. A wide-eyed and imaginative best friends Malik and Eric traverse the city, looking to escape the mundaneness of school and the hardships of growing up in public housing. Their unbreakable bond is challenged when tragedy shakes their community, just as they're learning to fly. See what they did there.
I see what they did there. Just do it.
Moving over to video on demand, The Last Stop in Yuma County.
Come on. Huh? Just do it? No? Nothing?
No.
All right.
No.
That's why I just kept going.
It's like passing the homeless guy. You just don't want to look him in the eye. Just keep walking. Just keep walking.
Last Stop in Yuma County comes to video on demand. While awaiting the next fuel truck at a middle-of-nowhere Arizona rest stop, a traveling young knife salesman is thrust into a high-stakes hostage situation by the arrival of 2 similarly stranded bank robbers, with no qualms about using cruelty or cold, hard steel to protect their blood-stained, ill-begotten fortune. And then we have Poolman, in a limited release, will be coming as well. The story of Darren Brannerman, played by Chris Pine, is a native Los Angelino who's going to be spending his days looking after the pool of a Tahitian tiki apartment block and fighting to make his hometown a better place to live, when he is tasked by a femme fatale to uncover the truth behind a shady business deal. Darren enlists the help of his friends to take up a corrupt politician and a greedy land developer. His investigation reveals a hidden truth about his beloved city as well as himself. I love me some Chris Pine.
He directed that too. That's his directorial debut. Yeah.
Well, then hopefully it is limited enough that we can see it.
Yeah, that's kind of the artsy personal projects I like to see.
Really?
Versus like Ethan Hawke's. Usually.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke usually goes a little too artistry.
A little too artsy. No, all kinds of crazy characters, quirky dialogue. Yeah, that looks like fun.
What else got your peak there, Brian?
I'm going with the Planet of the Apes again. I looked into Wes Ball. He's the director. He's not done much as far as movies go, except for the Maze Runner movies,
which were good,
which are actually pretty entertaining. Yeah. I mean, they weren't great, but they were entertaining. And he's also got a Legend of Zelda project that's in development.
No.
So, yep, attention Scott Clark. But Taro, I want to see that.
Do you really?
I want to see that. I do, because it's like 13 rooms and Final Destination kind of vibes. It's not going to be very good. I know it's not. But it looks like a little bit of fun and some good. Just give me a few good scares. Hopefully, we didn't see everything in the trailer. I'll give that a shot.
So let me ask: raise your voice if you believe in astrology. Do you believe if you are X sign that you are inherently born with certain traits, no matter what?
That much of it, absolutely. Capricorns are definitely pegged as certain kind of people, and I fit the bill of a Capricorn, like hands down.
I think you'd fit the bill out of 6 or 7 of them, Troy.
Now,
if you really wanted to, you could.
But now the whole
I think you're going to find coincidences among a lot of people. That being said, I've seen studies where they've asked a group of like a classroom or what have you, who does this describe? And people raise their hands, and people are of all kinds of different signs. So I'm not a big believer in it myself.
I definitely don't.
Although those tarot cards weren't like Aries and Capricorn and all that stuff. It was different types of cards. So
yeah, I don't believe in the this thing rising, this thing setting, this thing when I stand on my head 4 different ways. Like, I don't understand any of that stuff. But
all right, fair enough.
I'm not a Pisces or an Aries, and that's all that matters.
My most anticipated is probably The Last Stop in Yuma County. Honestly, yeah. Jim Cummings is in that movie. I love Jim Cummings. He's made some movies that I just love: Thunder Road and The Wolf of Snowy Hollow. Whatever. Fuck if I said that right. But The Wolf of Snow Hollow. I know he's not directing this one, but I just think he's a fun actor to watch, and it's just that crazy, wacky kind of crime comedy that I'm into.
And I like Richard Brake.
Oh yeah.
He's a real ominous type of baddie. So
looks fun.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah, it does.
I'm just hoping he's a knife salesman that's secretly a ninja, and he just starts shooting out those knives at people.
Because there's lots of them in the Arizona desert or California desert.
But you don't know, because you never see the ninjas. They're so fast.
They don't wear black. They wear tan and orange, so they hide in with the rocks.
They would stand out if they were wearing their black outfits.
It keeps them cool. They're in the desert. Just saying.
Troy, do you want to opine about the apes any longer? I mean, you're more than welcome to.
I mean, the biggest thing here is that one of the main characters of it is supposed to be Caesar's son from the first 3 movies. So the fact that it's like a pseudo continuation, I think, is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And how the humans work into this one, I think, is going to be the most intriguing thing about the movie. Definitely worth a watch.
Even those last 3 movies, though, had a huge time gap in between each one of them. So they were connected, but not really, sort of.
I always wonder if they would have come back to James Franco if he didn't have his whole scandal going on pretty shortly after this, or around that time. I wonder if he would have factored in some way.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking that too with the third movie. Like, would he be like some old researcher somewhere in a lab that they'd have to like go track? Like, Caesar goes and tracks him down to help him win the war. Like, that would have been a cool story to come back to, but alas. All
right, May 17th. I think this is a really cool concept. But if a child can see and talk to people's imaginary friends, befriending those that have been forgotten or discarded, so imaginary friends turn to the dark side and become evil. And it stars Ryan Reynolds, and it's directed by John Krasinski from his own idea, allegedly. Then we have The Strangers Chapter 1, which follows Pesh, who drives cross-country with a longtime boyfriend to begin a new life in the Pacific Northwest. When their car breaks down in Venus, Oregon, they're forced to spend the night in a secluded Airbnb where they are terrorized from dusk till dawn by 3 masked strangers. And this is directed by Renny Harlin. It's a reboot. There apparently are going to be 3 chapters of this. And P.S., if you ever want to hear the backstory to the truth that inspired the strangers, go listen to Inspired by a True Story. That's available on Podcast Now. And then, of course, you got a little J.K. Simmons action when You Can't Run Forever gets a limited release. Miranda, a young woman already suffering from acute anxiety due to a past tragedy. Who hasn't been there? faces a new terror when a serial killer chooses her as his new target. In her harrowing hunt through the woods, Miranda finds strength she never knew she had as she tries to elude her murderous tracker. Yeah, it stars J.K. Simmons. He's not Miranda. Spoiler alert. Then we have Babes, which also debuted at South by Southwest, but I didn't get to see this one, so I don't have any insight about it. After becoming pregnant from a one-night stand, Eden leans on her married best friend and mother of two, Dawn, to guide her through gestation and beyond. Now, that's getting a limited release. I did hear good things about that one. It's a lower budget movie, but it's supposed to be very bridesmaidsy, like Bridesmaids meets Knocked Up. So, yeah, take that for what you will. Babes. Then we have Back to Black. That's the Amy Winehouse biopic. Amy Winehouse died of alcohol poisoning in 2011, and this is her story leading up to that. So of those, who's excited for anything here? Anybody want a Strangers reboot, by the way?
No.
And I've got prequel fatigue, as we've discussed off air a number of times. So I really don't need that. I am curious about you've got Ryan Reynolds, John Krasinski, a huge ensemble cast. Kaylee Fleming, the main girl in that movie, she was on The Walking Dead and really one of the best characters that they had the last few seasons.
Was she Rick's daughter? Oh, yep. Okay.
Yep. And really just about stole every scene she was in.
She's super badass.
Yep. So excited to see her get a big movie.
Yeah, I'm all down for If. That is right up my alley. Everything about it, nothing bad to say. So John's behind it. It's good. Ryan Reynolds is acting in it. It's even better. We already talked about Kaylee. I just love the concepts. Just imaginary monsters, imaginary friends, all of that is like right in my wheelhouse. Some people have heard the story about when I saw Inside Out, and I really thought Bing Bong was going to save the world. And then when Bing Bong dies, I lost my shit in the theater. I almost had to walk out. I was so just distraught because oh my God, an imaginary friend died. So yeah, I am so there. But I also followed the Amy Winehouse stuff while she was rising to fame. So I'm really curious to see how they handle that. Hopefully it does her justice and it does well. And I'm really looking forward to going on the journey.
She had a pretty tragic life.
Yeah.
It sounded like, But I don't think they make biopics about anyone that had a really smooth lifestyle,
It would be pretty boring,
it would. Man, I ate bologna every day. That's literally all I did, I died of high blood pressure.
Stomach cancer.
I was born rich. Didn't really have to have a job. Just did whatever I wanted, went wherever I wanted to, whenever I wanted to.
Sweetness.
I had a good life.
Weird. I got to say, If is one of those that is probably in the top 5 for the summer for me, just because I love anything that's going to have some real imagination behind it. That's really trying to just go outside the box. And especially if you can do it where you can bring families together, because there aren't enough of those these days. It's got that old Amblin vibe where it's just something to bring the family together. And I really looking forward to it. I hope it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, especially because there are only so many stories you can tell in Hollywood, but to reimagine and recreative with it and tell it from a different angle. And I think this is right up the alley of using your imagination to come up with something just completely off the wall. Well, to tell the hero's journey type of story. According
to Hollywood, there are 14 stories and they just keep remaking them. Huh? It's the independent sector where you get the originality. I said it.
If the movie is half as brilliant as the title and what IF stands for, then it'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
Because I think the title's brilliant, and the fact that it stands for Imaginative Friend,
very very clever, very clever.
Well, coming up, getting into the Memorial Day weekend, we're going to have a lot of fun because the Blue Angels are headed to Prime.
That's cool.
They're going to soar once again in a brand new documentary featuring never-before-seen footage that chronicles a year with the Navy's elite flight demonstration squadron. I got to see them up in Milwaukee for the air show. It's a sight. If you never had a chance to see Blue Angels, definitely check them out. From the selection through the challenging training and demanding show season, showcases the extraordinary teamwork and passion and pride that fuels America's best. And the fact that J.J. Abrams is behind this, like, it's going to be completely awesome. And it's coming up before everything else that weekend. So check it out on May 23rd over on Prime. Because when you're lazy and want to enjoy the first weekend of summer the right way, you get lasagna and check out the Garfield movie. That's right. Cynical, lazy orange cat's back and interacts with his owner, John Arbuckle, and fellow pet Odie, the dog. And the fact that you have Ving Rhames and Chris Pratt and Samuel L. Jackson, like, what is going to happen here? This could be the Garfield movie we've all been waiting for.
Speaking of the GIMP. Sorry.
But I'm sure most people are going to be checking out Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. It's the prequel to 2015's Mad Max Fury Road. Anna Taylor-Joy is going to be here. So you're just going to know it's going to be crazy. Anything you can think of is going to happen here. And I'm just super excited to see how this all plays into the greater saga overall. And then if you just want to stay home because you're like, traffic and the holiday weekend and everything, you can check out Atlas, rated PG-13 over on Netflix. It's the story of a woman named Atlas fighting for humanity in a future where an AI soldier has determined the only way to end war is to end humanity itself. To outthink the rogue AI, Atlas must work with the one thing she fears most, another AI. Didn't see that coming, did you? Nope, not at all. I feel
like we just saw this movie last year. It's called The Creator, and it's probably better.
I got excited because I thought it might be setting up a Titanfall movie.
The game?
That'd
be awesome.
That would be cool.
Then you saw Jennifer Lopez's name and went, shit.
It's like, man. So much for that.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, Aaron. The description reads exactly like The Creator.
It does.
And I love The Creator. I thought The Creator was really great.
Wouldn't it have been better if Jennifer Lopez was the star?
Possibly. It just depends on how much of her was her and how much of her was robotic and AI.
Jeez. Oh.
They probably would have needed a little bit more money if Jennifer Lopez was in it than the $80 million it was made for.
Probably. But then what they could do is they could title the robot, "This is me before the robot surgery," and then "This is me now after the robot surgery." Dun, 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 dun.
Speaking of nauseous, this the Blue Angels looks pretty cool. Seeing how everything goes on with them, and the fact that it's going to be shown on IMAX makes me wonder if they're offering vomit bags in the movies.
Yeah, well,
because that's got potential to make some people pretty sick.
That's what I found fascinating. It's coming to Prime. I mean, Troy was right about Prime, but I guess the week before they are going to do like a limited release in IMAX theaters. So the thing is like, what would you rather do? Would you rather pay and go to IMAX? And now if you're on AMC A-list, you don't have to pay extra. But if you go and you have to pay for it versus sitting at home watching it on Prime, which would you rather do?
Something like that. I would like to see it on IMAX if possible.
I guess it depends on how much aerial and how much sitting around interviewing people, right? If it's sitting around interviewing people, what do you need the IMAX for? But if they are going to do a lot of aerial stuff, then I think that would be really dope to see on a big screen.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to waste the money that it takes to make an IMAX movie.
Yeah.
Just to have people sitting around a table talking about flight patterns and should we do this type of role or that one, that kind of stuff. I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's going to be a lot of aerial stuff.
Would you want to do that movie in 4DX?
Ooh.
That might be the only thing I would do a 4DX for.
Yeah, I would do it.
Man, speaking of nauseous, There you go. Yeah. Prepare to vomit.
Yeah, but see, it wouldn't be like drive. It would be better because the plane isn't as bumpy as it is like driving over the ground. So it's a lot less of that, but it's probably constant wind blowing in your face from the...
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So, it would actually be just really hot because of the sun beaming in the cockpit. So there'd be like one of those like restaurant heaters blowing on you. Why is it sweaty in here?
When it comes to the movies that are coming out, look, Garfield, I just don't care about. Chris Pratt, his voice is fine. I mean, Mario was fine. This will be fine. I'm glad he's cornered the niche on cartoon reimaginings. But Furiosa, even though I still would prefer Charlize Theron was in it, I don't care if it's a prequel or not. I would just tell me this is really her young. Okay, I'll buy into it. I'd rather have Charlize Theron. But I like Anya Taylor-Joy, so this should be pretty fantastic. George Miller doesn't really miss very much.
No.
Maybe they find her as a small child at the end of the movie, and that's the surprise.
What?
Charlize Theron. Like if they
just
find
her head superimposed on a baby or something.
Well, no, like they find like the character as like a young teenage girl or something. Like it's, it's like it's a prequel.
And Furiosa's taken in and raised later,
right?
Like
maybe.
So Anya, what is it? Anya Taylor-Joy,
yep.
Yeah, because how does her eyes get so big, and then by the time she gets to Charlize Theron, they're normal size. So it's got to be somebody different. I mean, she's a pretty Gollum. Don't get me wrong, but
walking away. That's Brian at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. I think that email still works. Just check that out. No, but she recently talked about like people would tease her about it in school, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? It makes you stand out.
It's the differences that make people beautiful.
I agree. On May 31st, we've got Backspot. It's about an ambitious cheerleader played by Devery Jacobs who faces new adversity and the increased drive for perfection and triumph when she and her girlfriend are selected for an all-star cheer squad and its demanding head coach, played by Evan Rachel Wood. And with a competition looming, Riley must navigate her drive with her crippling anxiety as one wrong move will bring her crashing to the ground. I saw that one on South by Southwest. I talked about it on that episode. I will tell you the performances are great. Evan Rachel Wood is fantastic, but the camera work is so shaky cam, it does get disheartening quite often. So take that for what you will. Then we have Ezra. While his agent, Whoopi Goldberg, tries to keep his failing career afloat, a stand-up comic moves in with his dad, who thinks he's a loser. But he'll fight for his autistic son, Ezra, who's 11, who's read the New York Times since age 5, but gets booted from school for impulsive outbursts. Screenwriter Tony Spiridakis, who raised a neurodivergent son, writes from experience. And stars Vera Farmiga, Rose Byrne, Robert De Niro, as I already talked about, Tony Goldwyn, Bobby Cannavale. It's an all-star cast. 2 more, Jim Henson, Idea Man on Disney Plus will feature interviews with members of Jim Henson's family and his frequent collaborators, so that's very cool. In a Violent Nature is really like a Jason story, but told from the perspective of Jason. So when a locket is removed from a collapsed fire tower in the woods that entombs the rotting corpse of Johnny, a vengeful spirit, spurred on by a horrific 60-year-old crime, his body is resurrected and becomes hell-bent on retrieving it. The undead golem hones in on the group of vacationing teens responsible for the theft and proceeds to methodically slaughter them one by one in his mission to get it back, along with anyone in his way. Has phenomenal reviews. Phenomenal. It's like 94% last I checked. I don't understand what's going on with this, but I'm telling you right now, that's my most anticipated movie. You guys?
I mean, I'm not a Jason fan traditionally. I was more on the Freddy Krueger side. So it does seem like it would be an interesting way to retell a Jason story from his point of view. I thought that concept novelty sounds like a novel idea. Really like that. But I think I'm going to spend more time with Jim Henson. Like, I love the man. Mm-hmm. Like, I grew up on the Muppets. I do a Kermit the Frog impression. I can sing the Rainbow Connection in the full Kermit the Frog voice. Like, everything about Jim Henson just...
You can't throw that out there and not at least do a bar.
Not do a bar?
Yeah.
We should do like,
bar.
No music. Are there so many songs about rainbows? What's on the other side?
Not bad. A little more Patrick Mahomes than Kermit, but I liked it.
Yeah. It was on the spot. I didn't have time to warm up. But yeah, it's like Jim Henson is just the creativeness about him, the non-commercialness about him, just the story behind the Muppet Babies and what he had to do there because he didn't want to give into the commercialism. I just think he's one of those, artistic creators of our time that like people know about, but not people today probably know about as well as we did growing up. So to see him and the family get some light in the spotlight on Disney Plus, I think it's going to be really fun, especially with Ron Howard back in the project and stuff. I think it's going to be a super good story. And of course, I like the cheerleaders too. Cheerleaders are fun, and I love Evan Rachel Wood. So if the shaky cam's not too bad,
I'll take Stick It over Backspot any day.
What?
If you've seen,
is that a cheerleading movie? So, I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it's more gymnast, but still same thing, sort of. No, I'm more interested in Ezra. I'm not a big Bobby Cannavale fan. I don't know. There's something about him. He's just somebody I just don't like. I don't have a good reason for it, but it just looks so heartwarming. It just such a good cast. It just seems like a feel good movie, and we could all use one of those now and then. So.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right. Well, June 7th, not much going on there because everybody is just dying with anticipation to see if Will Smith slaps Martin Lawrence across the face as they come back for Bad Boys Ride or Die. That's right. Team up to clear up the dead captain's name and their own as they fight a massive drug conspiracy. This is going to be so good. Can't wait. And also Hitman hits Netflix. Gary Johnson, played by Glenn Powell, a part-time teacher, moonlights as a mysterious gunman for hire for cops. When he breaks protocol to help a desperate woman, then they're trying to flee an abusive husband. He finds himself becoming one of the false personas, falling for the woman and flirting with and turning into a criminal himself.
Oh, I thought Hitman was the documentary of Will Smith. Oh my God. I can't believe I just said that.
Did you just do a Jim Carrey impression? Alrighty then.
It was like the last second and a half of that joke. It was like, wait a minute, that's Jim Carrey.
Because there's not much going on, we'll just go ahead and roll into June 14th, the following weekend as well, because Father's Day is owned by Pixar. And as I mentioned already, I will definitely be checking out Inside Out 2 as we go back into the head of now teenager Riley, who has all kinds of new feelings and emotions to deal with. It's going to be super, super awesome. And I really hope that as they go into the teenage years with this, right, we talk about anxiety and depression and things that teenagers today are facing. I hope it's a really great message for mental health as they go through this new version of Inside Out. Plus, we're going to have The Watchers. It follows Mina, a 28-year-old artist who gets stranded in an expansive, untouched forest in Western Ireland. When Mina finds her shelter, she unknowingly becomes trapped alongside three strangers that are watched and stalked by mysterious creatures each night. This one's directed by M. Night's daughter, Ishana Night Shyamalan, and stars Dakota Fanning. So my 2 cents on The Watchers is that it sounds like Old mixed with The Village in this description. I've not seen the trailer for it, but I am curious to see how the family lineage will pass down.
I think it depends on which trailer you've seen. If you watch just the first trailer where they really don't show you much about what's going on, it's just basically people in an aquarium of sorts, like it's just people watching them. That one, I thought they should have just stuck with that because they do give you a little bit more in the second trailer. It's still very open in terms of what's really going on, but it tells you a lot. It gives you a lot more to play with than I think the first one did. The first one, I thought, just really made me wild with anticipation. The second one said to me, I think I've seen this before, you know?
Yeah, I watched that first one. That must be the one that you're. Yeah, it must be the
very
first
vague
one. Sounds like.
Yeah.
The mirror stuff and all. It's, you really don't know what's going on, and that's what's really great about these M. Night Shyamalan movies is he is amazing at creating great trailers that leave you wondering how imaginative is this really going to be, and then pulling the rug out from underneath your feet when you are sorely disappointed later. So
tell me how you really feel. You're hoping the daughter didn't get that curse?
Just maybe it's Mother Nature. I don't know.
Maybe it's genetic. Maybe we just can't figure out those endings after that first one.
Maybe it'll be fine as long as she's not in the movie. Maybe that's the curse.
I mean, he's a victim of his own success. It's just you become so accustomed to the big twist at the end. You're constantly looking for it, constantly trying to figure it out. And when it turns out to be a more or less basic type of movie, you kind of grade it lower than you probably should.
Does that make you, since this is directed by his daughter, right? Does that make you more hesitant to see her film based on her father's work? Honest question.
No,
okay.
no.
All right. You're going to let her stand on her own because the trailer does feel like an M. Night movie.
Absolutely. Right. Oh, yeah. It's visually stunning, great use of color, all of that stuff. That's kind of one of his trademarks. Mm-hmm. But absolutely let her stand on her own 2 feet with this one. And it's, again, his name was kind of all over the trailer, so I assume he's
involved. He's helping her. Yeah.
He's definitely involved. So it's kind of, I don't want to say 50-50, maybe 70-30 her and him. But yeah.
Is this he buys the paper route and then sends his 12-year-old kid out to do the actual paper route?
Maybe. Now, when it comes to Bad Boys Ride or Die, which they wasted the Bad Boys for Life title on the last movie, Dum-Dums, because you could have had that cool number 4. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do you think Will Smith has screwed himself out of recovery? Which is wild because, there are so many actors who have done so far worse than he has. But from talking to people, I know many people that are no longer Will Smith fans at all.
Look, we love a comeback story, but you've got to do more than Bad Boys to get back in the good graces of the general public. Plain and simple. Now, what does that mean? What exactly is more? That's up to his people. I don't know, but yeah, what he did was pretty egregious. There are absolutely much worse things, but that was unprecedented what he did, and to have such a good guy, likable reputation and image to just instantly just wipe it away and it's gone, and you've just kind of gone to the other end of the spectrum, that's a pretty hard thing to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's got to do more than I Am Legend and Bad Boys, bring him back. Like, it's kind of like, hey, remember I did this? I'm not
guys,
that
remember
bad
you
of a
loved me
guy.
then when I wasn't smacking people on a public forum.
Yeah. The smack that was heard around the world because so many millions of people were watching that all over, at the time that it happened. So
it's still debated to this day.
Yeah.
We're all watching live going like, is this a stunt? Like what's going on?
And not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I think we've got Bad Boys, which is an older franchise that maybe have some too large of gaps in between sequels. We've got another one coming up a little bit later in the rundown that has a very similar stance. I think they missed an opportunity. Bad Boys, Axel F.
You just combine them? Mix them together? Okay. All right. I think the studios would not love that, but you know what? I would watch the hell out of it.
They're hunting each other.
Hey, they both have a case that draws them together. It's a simple formula.
Now, Inside Out 2, before we move on, Troy, that I know you love that first movie. So is that, I don't want to spoiler alert, but I assume that's probably one of your most anticipated of the whole summer?
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Especially if they, like I said, if they go deep into the mental health concepts and, really connect with teenagers. Hopefully teenagers go and see it and they don't think they're aged out of Pixar movies, because Pixar is like the one place where it's like both adult and kids, and there's the way they tailor the movie, right? Everybody gets something out of it. So if they can really do this well, it could be a really powerful piece for Disney in their catalog.
I do love that first movie a lot. Like it's probably the last Pixar movie that I can say I love. I've liked a bunch of theirs, but I love that movie. Just very, very sharp, very smart. All right. Well, coming to June 21st, Kinds of Kindness. Oscar winner Emma Stone, two-time Oscar winner Emma Stone, reunites with Willem Dafoe and director Yorgos Lanthimos, the director she just won the Oscar for this movie called Kinds of Kindness that they don't have the plot description for, and I'm sure wouldn't make any sense anyway if you've seen any of Yorgos' movies. And then we have Janet Planet. In rural Western Massachusetts, 11-year-old Lacey spends the summer of 1991 at home. So another nostalgia trip. Enthralled by her own imagination and the attention of her mother, Janet. As the months pass, 3 visitors enter their orbit. All captivated by Janet and her spellbinding nature. In her solitary moments, Lacey inhabits an inner world so extraordinarily detailed that it begins to seep into the outside world. Then we have The Bike Riders, a furious drama following the rise of a fictional 1960s Midwestern motorcycle club through the lives of its members, and it has Michael Shannon, Norman Reedus, of course, Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, and Jodie Comer. And I'll tell you what, all those names didn't mean shit to me except Jodie Comer. That's right. But lastly, and probably most fantastically, is Thelma. After 70 years in the industry, Nebraska Oscar nominee June Squibb lands her first lead role at the age of 94 in an action film about a grandma who gets victimized by a phone scammer impersonating her grandson. So she joins a friend who is Shaft's Richard Roundtree, by the way, in his last role, to take back what's hers. Parker Posey's here, Malcolm McDowell is here, but most importantly, Squibb does most of her own stunts. At 94, whoever is sitting there saying, I can't get things done, I don't know what's going to happen, I'm too old for my dreams, shut up. She's 94. If this woman can do it, you can too. Get out there. I'm sorry, I digress. You guys?
No, I mean, it sounds freaking amazing. Like the fact that June Squibb is still out there wanting to work, and it's going to be an action movie on top of it. And then Richard Roundtree shows up. It's like, am I dreaming? Did I die? Like, what's going on here, Hollywood?
Grandma Wick meets Shaft. I'm in.
Yeah, I watched the wrong trailer, apparently. Because
description does not fit that one, huh?
It didn't fit that one.
You're thinking of Thelma the Unicorn? It was like a cartoon or something?
Nope, that came up, and that was a big part of the the search. But nope, it wasn't that one either.
This is one I don't need a trailer for, Brian. I think the description sells it all.
I'm in. That sounds amazing. Especially, just the personal story. Give me a documentary about her personal story. I'll watch that just as well.
I would love to have a moment where this 94-year-old woman pulls a Swayze and rips somebody's throat out. That would be just...
This movie does well. I want the documentary on the making of this. Like, who goes up and says, "Hey, June, we got this script for you. Why don't you read it?"
I'm sure she's ecstatic. Why wouldn't she be?
Let me get my cheaters on.
Oh, man. Anything else tickle your fancy there?
I mean, Emma Stone can do no wrong at this point, so I'll be interested to see what happens there. I did love Poor Things. I thought it was great.
The Bike Riders for me. I like Tom Hardy. And Austin Butler's star is rising, so...
I wonder if he'll still talk like Elvis in that one.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, it's not too Elvis-y, but there's notes of it.
Oh, yeah, he's got it stuck in his craw. All right, June 28th, Daddy-O. This is, could go a lot of different ways, but it's taking place in New York City, JFK Airport. Young woman jumps into the backseat of a yellow taxi. The cabbie throws the vehicle in the drive as the two head out into the night toward Manhattan, striking up the most unexpected conversations, resulting in a single epic, remarkable journey. And it stars Dakota Johnson and Sean Penn. Then we have A Quiet Place Day One. This explores what happened on day one of that invasion that John Krasinski, died in. He is not involved in this film other than a producer, and it stars Lupita Nyong'o and Andrew Form and several others. This could be... this is the first spinoff, basically. So it's not A Quiet Place 3, it's a spinoff. Then we have... Yet
another prequel.
Yeah, pretty much, yep. Then we have Horizon, an American Saga. Part 1. This is the movie series that Kevin Costner basically said F you to Yellowstone over. He wanted to make this... And he and Taylor Sheridan couldn't come to agreement on dates and times and everything else. And he chose this epic series that he's rolling huge dice on to make over concluding Yellowstone. It chronicles a multifaceted 15-year span of pre- and post-Civil War expansion and settlement of the American West. And this is Kevin Costner back in the director's seat, also starring. And it's got a large cast of actors. There are 4 films. The second one's going to come up later in this, pretty quickly here in this podcast. So 2 of the parts come out just this summer. This is wild and a big roll of the dice.
Well, he's spent 5 seasons on Yellowstone, so it's not like it's one season and then he's tapping out. So something like 5 seasons. Mm-hmm. That's enough. If you're kind of done, you want to do something else, and they're not willing to work with you too much on it, then fine, go do it. You're Kevin freaking Costner.
That's right. You're Oscar winner, Kevin Costner.
You're Oscar winner, Kevin Costner. Tyler Sheridan, whatever he's got a series coming out every other week, it seems like. Congrats to him. But you're Kevin freaking Costner. You do what you want to do. And there's 2 things that he does perfectly. That's sports movies and that's historical movies. And yeah, this is a weird but interesting jaunt.
Yeah, especially the 4 movies. So I'm not sure. I mean, like just setting up
the 4 movies
at once. That was
right. Right. And every one of them is going to be 3 hours apiece. So,
well, yeah, he doesn't know how to edit. Maybe a great director, but he doesn't. He's like, I'm good with that. Let's just leave it all.
But I'll tell you what, I already love the musical score.
Oh, from the trailer?
Just from the trailer. Yeah.
This is very, it's like a throwback. It feels like the kind of movie that would have been made 20 years ago or 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Like it's that kind of throwback. And I'm on board. I agree with you. He's a wonderful director. The guy knows history and he knows how to make a good movie told with that backdrop.
Yep.
I mean, it was just Dances with Wolves, right? Because everybody just lambasts the Postman.
Well, that wasn't history. That was future history.
You go. He also did Open Range, right? Wasn't Open Range his? That's a great movie.
See, I agree with Brian. He does great sports movies. I mean, For Love of the Game is top-notch. Draft Day is amazing. Tin Cup, I love Tin Cup with a passion. Bull Durham, obviously.
Bull Durham.
I mean, obviously, Field of Dreams, but it's like the sagas. It's like it was Dancing with Wolves. Like Waterworld wasn't super awesome from a film perspective.
There are people that will fight you every day on that argument.
Like Waterworld. I'm just saying, when you're talking like
I'm not one of them.
Waterworld and The Postman and things of that nature, comparing it to Dancing with Wolves, it's not the same league as Dancing with Wolves.
Dancing with Wolves was the best version of Avatar.
Maybe runtime, but that's about the only thing that you can compare equally. But they're also completely different films than Dances with Wolves. But
I guess for me, the question on this is going to be like, do we need to see, we're going for the gold rush. We're settling in the West. We're claiming the land. I already saw Far and Away.
For me, it's more of justify this one to me, my friend, because you already make movies that are 3 hours long, as we've already talked about. And now you need 4 of these to complete whatever the hell your story was. Come on, just go do a TV series. Go do, I don't know, a Yellowstone-esque TV series that's in the past.
Yeah, by the time it's done, you could probably get 12 to 13 episodes out of these 4 movies. So
Yellowstone 1876.
All right, what are you guys excited about? Troy, I know you're a big Quiet Place fan. I am too. You and I saw that, I think, the first.
Yeah, we saw the first one together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because John's still attached to it, I think it'll be fine. I'm just curious, like, how much is going to be a Quiet Place? Because, like, we already saw day one in the second movie. Mm-hmm. At least, a snippet of day one, right? We didn't see the whole day one. So it'll be interesting to see, like, what is different about this from, say, like Cloverfield. Right?
Yeah, it looks like it's more in a city, right? This one's more a city, and the first 2 were more small town.
Right. So from that perspective, like different locale, I'm interested. But the thing that makes Quiet Place so good is the like established world of, this is how we try to survive with these things here. I'm not in for a monster slasher movie. I can see that anytime. And quite frankly, just go watch Cloverfield. Right.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to July. First up, we have Sing Sing. It's a film that follows the rehabilitation of the performing arts prison program. That sounds like it would be right up my alley because I love me some theater and some singing. It's going to be so good.
That debuted at South by. I didn't see it, but I heard nothing but rave reviews about it. People they loved it.
Yeah. Because, oh my God, I do not understand how this man is not dead at this point. I mean, he's got so many of the yellow minions running around that I don't know how he keeps them fed all the time. Like they should just, devour Gru in his sleep. I have no idea, but they're making a fourth Despicable Me movie, people.
I thought you were tying that into Coleman Domingo's Sing Sing, and I'm like, what?
I didn't get to that. Apparently, I watched another wrong trailer because I didn't remember Coleman Domingo
and Minions
being attacked by a bunch of minions.
No, Gru's back with the kids and the yellow fun people, and it's a fourth installment. You already know what Despicable Me is. We don't have to spend any time here because they are bringing back from the 80s Mr. Axel Foley himself in the revival of Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F, coming to Netflix. And yes, Eddie Murphy is back. Can't wait. It's going to be so good. Maxine is the third film of Ty West and A24's X-horror franchise. So obviously, since it's the third film, it's Max XXX-ing.
The first one was XXX too. It's their thing.
I know. But it's just funny how it's like, oh, it's a triple X thing. Like, this is going to be a sexy movie.
Oh, yeah.
Again, A24 hit or miss, right?
Well, yeah, very much. Those movies, I like those movies. Those are kind of kitschy horror movies. But Axel F, I'm bummed it's not coming to a theater. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm really, really bummed. I would love to see Axel Foley return and redeem himself from the horrors that were Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Who knows? Depending on Netflix's year is going, they might do a 2-day theater release kind of thing just to get the Oscar for him.
Sure.
Does it worry you that it is Netflix and not a theater release?
No, it did until I saw the trailer, and I'm like, okay, I feel like he's stepping back into his shoes. I think he turned down several scripts for a return that could have gone theatrical. I think he stuck with this one because it was finally the script he wanted. So I'm trusting Eddie Murphy because Eddie Murphy's still funny. I don't care what anybody says. Every interview I see with him, the guy, when he wants to light it up, he can light it up.
And the revival Coming to America wasn't awful. It was an enjoyable film.
It just didn't have that sexual chocolate I wanted.
Exactly. Yeah. The soul glow was missing.
What
about you, Brian? Are you dropping the soap for some song time in prison?
Jesus.
Wow. I mean,
that's personal.
That probably overestimates my excitement for the movie. I'm kind of looking forward to it, but not that much. Again, it is A24, so it's a coin flip. But I do like Coleman Domingo. I think he's a really strong actor. Another veteran from the Walking Dead universe. And yeah, like I said, I like him. I'm glad to see him getting a lead in a feature film. So yeah, that one. And I mean, the Minions to me are cinematic treasure. They're freaking hilarious.
You like those that much?
I like the Minions. I don't like the movies, but I do like the Minions.
That's fascinating. Let's unpack that.
No, what we need to do is not have Gru and the kids. We just need more Minions movies.
Right.
Okay. I see where you guys are coming from.
Yeah. And I haven't seen any of the Maxine franchise. So
the first one is pretty. It has Jenna Ortega in it. It's pretty good.
Okay. Brian, I have to ask you a question with all the A24 stuff that's coming out. Did you see a Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage?
No.
Okay.
But they did put my quote on one of their movies, so I do have a special place in my heart.
They do.
Which one?
For A24. Which one? The Ballad of Lefty Brown.
Right. Was that A24? I did not know that. Yes. Brian's quote's on the box of that one, the front cover.
Made it onto the DVD. Whoop, whoop.
What a dick. All right. He was the first member of the Hollywood Outsider to be quoted on a movie box, and that's what's wrong with all that picture. Okay, so moving on.
That's why he's not here. He was like, my work's done. I'm retired. See ya.
That's right.
Or
boom.
I said, get the fuck out of here if it's going to be you first.
Little column A, little column B.
All right, July 10th, Skywalker's a love story. This is a documentary, and to save their career and relationship, a daredevil couple journey across the globe to climb the world's last super skyscraper and perform a bold acrobatic stunt on the spire. This is going to be on Netflix. I just found this fascinating, so I added this to the list. Then on July 12th...
These Skywalkers he's excited for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought this was a Leia Luke story expansion on the Empire Strikes Back kiss, but whatever. I was totally on the wrong website for that trailer.
Oh God, your Google search is going to thank you later.
Well, he was typing in XXX and it just took him right here. You know, it's
and then I saw Skywalkers and there's these people making out, and I don't know.
Okay, so. July 12th, Fly Me to the Moon, a 1960s ad shark and a by the book launch director on a mission set against the high stakes backdrop of NASA's historic moon landing, starring Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum. And The Descendants, The Rise of Red, will be on Disney+. I don't know anything about this, but I know this show and the movies are popular. The Descendants expansion of a new story finds polar opposites Red and Chloe crossing paths at a momentous celebration in Auradon when unexpected chaos breaks out. And in order to prevent an impending coup, they must join forces to travel back in time via a magical pocket watch created by the Mad Hatter's son to stop an event that would lead to grave consequences. These movies are overly complicated.
I mean, and it's also like it's geared towards a certain group of people. So have these
kids?
I don't think any of us that are here are in the demographic for this movie.
I mean, my kids were into
going out on.
My kids were into The Descendants, but like my kid that was into The Descendants is now like 10 years older since I remember The Descendants coming out. So it's one of these. Did they wait too long to put something out like this?
Very possible. Very possible.
But I'm all about anything NASA related, and I think being a broadcasting major as well, and advertising and things of that nature. I think this is a cool way to retell a moon landing story from a different point of view, and all the hype that went on around about it. I mean, Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum. It's gonna be fun. It
looks a little bit sensationalized, kind of like the Pop-Tart movie, but it looks a lot of fun. And Apple TV is putting out some pretty quality stuff.
I would like to see a moon conspiracy movie where it's all a lie, just to feed the people that actually believe that. That's what I want to see.
Well, did you catch the Kubrick joke?
Yeah. I did catch the Kubrick joke.
I thought that was pretty funny.
All right. Moving on along to July 18th, 19th weekend. We're going to have My Spy, The Eternal City, coming to Prime Video. It follows teenage Sophie as she convinces JJ to chaperone her school trip, where they both end up as pawns in an international terrorist plot targeting CIA chief David Kim and his son Colin, who is Sophie's best friend. This has Chloe Coleman and Dave Bautista. Definitely check that one out.
I like the first one. The first movie's really cute. Surprisingly good. Yeah.
Yeah. But everybody's going to probably go check out Twisters, which is not a prequel, not a forequel, not anything relating to the original. Yeah,
Twister, even though they have this movie, they still have the little
the Dorothy flying things.
The Dorothy balls. Yeah.
But this one has Glenn Powell starring as the risk-loving, storm-chasing, self-promoting social media star, and Daisy Edgar Jones as a tornado traumatized recovering Twister chaser in peril once more in Oklahoma's Tornado Alley.
Sure sounds like a remake to me.
Sounds pretty much down the line.
Yeah.
Then you have Find Me Falling coming to Netflix on July 19th. An aging, flopping rock star, not at all flopping singer-actor in Harry Connick Jr. at 56. He flees to a remote home on a cliff on a spectacular island of Cyprus, where he rekindles an old flame, played by Angie Scott, and is forced to choose what he loves most, his music or his woman. Maybe he could write a song about it.
I am very, very excited about Twisters. I have never not enjoyed a tornado movie in the theater. There was even, I think the Warner Brothers had, it's a few years back, I can't remember the name of it to save my life, but it was a cheesy, almost looked like a Sci-Fi Network movie, and I still went to the theater and saw it, and it was pretty fun.
Is that the one with the fire tornado?
Yes. Yep, that's the one.
Yes, that was, they had Richard Armitage or whatever with the guy with the big
honker.
Nose.
Yeah.
Yep.
I still like that one even. I'm a sucker for a tornado movie because I'm from the Midwest and they're always popping up and everybody always wants to see them when they hit. And nobody in the Midwest actually goes in the basement. They just run outside.
Until one actually is like less than a mile from your house and someone photographs it and then you realize where the picture was taken and you go, oh shit, I shouldn't have been standing in my window when I came through.
Oh yes, very, very, very true. 100%.
And that's not allegedly connected to the first one at all.
That's what they're saying.
That's what they're implying. Unless they're trying to keep something under wraps. But everything I've seen in the trailer makes me think of the first movie. Like everything.
It feels like the first movie.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, add some Van Halen in there and Shine On, and we'll be like good.
The Extreme. In fact, I think I'm going to have to rewatch that movie. I always, on July 3rd or 4th or whatever, usually around that time, I'll do like a swim and movie night in my house where I'll project the movie onto my fence. I have a white fence, so it projects on there. I think it might have to be Twister this year. I think that'd be a perfect movie for it.
To be great.
Yeah.
I mean, we won't tell Independence Day you're cheating on it, but it's fine.
I mean, I've heard the speech. I've basically got it memorized at this point.
Today we celebrate the tornadoes coming to wreck my pool.
Greatest president we ever had.
Agreed.
Damn straight.
Agreed. All right. July 25th, The Fabulous Four. This is 3 lifelong pals played by Susan Sarandon, Cheryl Lee Ralph, and Megan Mullally. Visit Key West to be bridesmaids at the surprise wedding of their college girlfriend, who's Bette Midler. Look, I know this probably isn't for any of us, but that sounds like a fun cast. I would watch that for sure.
Yeah, it's what happened after 80 for Brady.
Yeah, it's the sequel to 80 for Brady. Touche. And then July 26th, which I believe is the most anticipated movie of ever, I think, at this point, or at least for me. Deadpool and Wolverine. This is the third installment of the Deadpool series, but it's not really. Director Sean Levy keeps saying that this is really its own thing. It stands on its own. And I would say that the first 2 movies both stand on their own anyway. And of course, stars Ryan Reynolds and brought the great Hugh Jackman out of retirement. He wasn't going to do another Wolverine appearance because Logan was fantastic. And Ryan Reynolds apparently just Ike Turnered him into coming in to this and doing this movie. Bad reference?
That's the analogy. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody else is not going to see Deadpool that weekend.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what popcorn bucket they're coming up with.
Oh, God.
Because it's going to be intentionally offensive.
I respect that. I do.
Maybe it's the reverse. Maybe it's instead of a popcorn bucket, it's like a claw that you get to eat the popcorn with.
No, I'm guessing it's an open mouth. That's what I'm guessing. That's what I'm betting. I'm betting it's going to be Deadpool and Wolverine with
that you could stick your
hand in their mouth for the popcorn.
Hand in the mouth with the warm
hand.
Butter.
Hand with the warm
buttery
treat inside. Buttery, gooey stuff that gets kind of maybe a little sticky.
And maybe you could connect that one. Maybe it's got like an exposed mouth or something, and you could connect it to the Dune bucket somehow.
Are we tying it into the Human Centipede?
Why not?
Now?
Let's go crazy.
All right.
Are you guys as excited about this?
I would not put that past a Deadpool joke by any stretch of the imagination either.
I wouldn't either. Are you guys as excited for this one as I am? Because I haven't been this excited for a comic book movie in a long time.
Yeah.
Since pretty much Endgame, I think.
Marvel Jesus.
For me, Spider-Man No Way Home, but that would be the most excited the most excited I've been previous to this. Just because I want to see all 3 of my Spider-Man together. And I feel like Jackman would definitely not be doing this unless he really thought this is great.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, Ryan Reynolds is just comedic genius, especially as far as this character goes. He is that character. So
he just is. I mean, I'm pretty sure Deadpool's more him than the other way around now.
Probably. Yeah.
Now my question is, what do you want most out of this? Is there anything like, is there a cameo? I kind of want a musical number just because you got Jackman, Ryan Reynolds proved in that Christmas movie with Will Ferrell. Yeah, Spirited. He proved that he could carry a tune. I would love to see these two like just do a ridiculous musical number. Like I'm Just Ken. I don't know. And cameos, bring them all back. Bring them all back somehow. And then kill them all. Like all the Fox versions of X-Men and stuff, just kill them all at once.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It will wipe the slate clean. It gives that transition into the MCU. That's kind of what I'm anticipating with this, is some way of saying, okay, here's where we were. we all know this is where we're going. This is the little tunnel we're going through to get there.
Ted.
So why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Kill him off.
Ted.
Kill him off. Bring back the guy to play Sabretooth in X-Men 1.
Jesus.
Yeah, all of those people. Anna Paquin. She hasn't done. She ain't worked in like 15 years anyway.
Liv Schreiber. So. You want to bring Liv Schreiber back?
Oh, see, I'd love Liv Schreiber.
Okay.
I'd have liked him as Sabretooth. Okay. Yeah. Nah, killing him off. I wasn't talking about him. I was talking about the guy before.
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the low budget Liv Schreiber.
Yeah.
Tyler Mane, I think was his name.
So this movie sees Deadpool find some way to blow up the multiverse. Therefore, King the Conqueror problem goes away and gives them the clean slate to restart the MCU.
Well, they did have I don't know if it was a series or kind of a one shot, but Deadpool basically does kill the Marvel Universe. So
let's do
he basically kills everybody.
Let's kill the multiverse.
So why not?
I mean, can we all agree that fans don't like the multiverse as much as they want them to? I haven't been excited about Marvel since they started doing the multiverse stuff. And I know I'm not alone in that. It's too convoluted. I think
they've relied too heavily on it. Like it's an easy tool. Okay, we've created this multiverse, but we're talking something like 6-7 years worth of multiverse stuff, and most of it's been fairly weak. Mm-hmm. There's not been much excitement about it. You've dragged out Kang so long that nobody really cares that he's this threat anymore. Seeing him go is probably not a bad thing. Although, it sucks because I think Jonathan Majors was actually pretty good at playing the different versions of him, but it is what it is. But yeah, they've really drawn that out. It feels like they don't really have a direction, a focused direction like they did for Phase 1 and 2, etc. But they've really got to get back on track because I kind of agree they're starting to kind of lose in all these different series with all these fringe characters, or trim those down a little bit. Make a movie if you want, fine, but kind of like what NBC did with the Hulk, back in the 80s and 90s. A one-shot movie, that kind of thing, sure. But 8 episodes, 10 episodes, 13 episodes, whatever, kind of trim those down because the quality is not there.
Sure.
All right, well, we move into August, and this one I think is going to be one of my personal favorites of the summer. Just if you have kids and anything about the story, this movie is just going to touch your heart. But it's Harold and the Purple Crayon. Harold, a bald young boy with a love of drawing, fears that the birth of a new baby brother will ruin his life. So with his magic purple crayon, he retreats into a fantasy world in which a monster abducts his baby brother. When real-life complications occur during the pregnancy, it's up to Harold to right the wrongs. And this one stars Zachary Levi. It's going to be just heartwarming. It's going to be so good. Also, Kneecap, rapping in their native Irish language, Kneecap fast becomes the unlikely figureheads of a civil rights movement to save their mother tongue. But the trio must first overcome police, paramedics, and politicians trying to silence their defiant sound, whilst their anarch approach to life often makes them their own worst enemies. Got Michael Fassbender in this one. It's going to be an interesting look at how they figure out the civil rights movement to save their native language and their native home.
Is Harold and the Purple Crayon an existing property that anyone knows about?
Yeah, it's like a book.
Okay.
Harold feels like the Deep Impact to If's Armageddon.
Yep.
Not saying whichever one's better or worse, but it just kind of feels like we've got this property and there's a big purple character and we got a purple crayon over here. Let's push this one. We got to compete with it.
Yeah, it's a 1955 children's picture book by Crockett Johnson.
Crockett Johnson?
Mm-hmm.
Is that where they got Crockett for Don Johnson's character in Miami Vice? Is that where?
Maybe.
What?
Maybe.
Oh my God. It's now.
Yeah, no, it's actually the first book in a series, right? So Harold and the Purple Crayon is the first book, and then Harold's Fairy Tale, Harold's Trip to the Sky, Harold Heads to the North Pole, Harold's Circus, and onward.
It's probably just the Matrix thing. You reusing the same information, but jumbling it up every couple decades so that it feels fresh.
Right.
That's all it is. It's
all right. Well, August 9th, we had M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's daughter. Now we have M. Night Shyamalan. We got the real guy.
The big bell himself.
Right. And his new movie is about a dad who takes his daughter to a pop concert only to discover the police are using it as a trap. It's a trap to take down an elusive serial killer. But what if the dad is the serial killer and the dad is Josh Hartnett? Ooh, so he's returning to horror. We'll come back to this, but keep that thought in your heads. And if you watch the trailer, it definitely feels like it's going one way, but I wonder how much of that is playing on our expectations. Okay, moving on. Borderlands, set on the planet of Pandora, which has been abandoned by a mega corporation. This is Cate Blanchett, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, and this is directed by Eli Roth, which means it can go either frickin' way. But it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what it looks like. Then we have Cuckoo, which is a 17-year-old girl is forced to move with her family to a resort where things are not what they seem. And this one stars Hunter Schafer. It ends with Us. Complications arise when a woman's high school love interest comes back into her life. And this has Blake Lively finally getting a break from all those kids. Ryan Reynolds finally let her go out and do something. Flint Strong, PG-13. This follows Clarissa T-Rex Shields, who's played by Ryan Destiny, a 17-year-old Flint, Michigan native who dreams of becoming the first woman in history to win an Olympic gold medal in boxing. Sounds like a fantastic story, and it has Ice Cube in it, and I'll watch anything with Ice Cube. Now, going back to Trap, if you watch the trailer, right, it does imply that Dad is a serial killer, but I wonder how much of that is just marketing trying to play with us. Like, maybe he's not the serial killer in question.
Maybe he's like Batman trying to stop the serial killer from the shadows.
Maybe because it basically shows someone is captive and it alludes to the fact that maybe Dad is the one behind it. But what if maybe Dad has the serial killer trapped himself? Like, I'm wondering, I feel like there's got to be something more to it, right? It's M. Night Shyamalan, and they wouldn't give the twist away that quickly, would they?
No.
Right. It's like your procedurals where they're tracking the killer, the perpetrator, whatever the case is, and they find that first suspect within 15 minutes of the episode. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not that person. So I'm sure it's some deflection. Maybe he's tracking the killer or the whatever in his own way. In his investigations running parallel with the police or something. But it's making it because he's always around. Maybe it's making him look guilty, or I don't know.
Maybe his daughter's movie releasing earlier in the summer is a tell for the twist here, where it's actually a family duo.
Okay, you're overthinking it.
So you only see the dad doing stuff in the trailer, but it's really the daughter who's the serial killer.
You're way.
So the concert they go to is actually watching the people in that living in that box in the woods.
Yeah.
So
the people that are trapped are the ones being watched.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the people that
why not
are the ones that Dakota Fanning or whatever, her and her group, they're the ones being watched at the concert that's taking place in Trap.
Okay. I'm in.
So it's
it'd be
inter-family related movies.
Because we do have Unbreakable, which then all of a sudden split. You had no idea it was going to be a sequel until the very end of the movie. This could be a duo thing, and we're just like,
Ooh, that would be neat, honestly.
They have two completely different feels, so it would be a really tricky slope to walk on. But
so is Unbreakable and Split.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting.
Conspiracy theory for the summer.
I like it. I do like it. Borderlands, real quick. So Troy, I don't know how much you know Borderlands. I know Brian and I used to play Borderlands with our weekly Xbox group. And that was always a fun game to play. Eli Roth is not necessarily a fun director sometimes. I mean, he redeemed himself with Thanksgiving, but boy, he's got a lot of shit on his plate. I don't know if I'm excited about this yet, but I do like the Guardians of the Galaxy vibes. What do you guys think?
I mean, Fallout's been a success and Halo was a success, so I don't see why Borderlands wouldn't be.
Ooh, is Halo a success? Really?
Oof. Sounds like there's a fight.
No fight. I mean,
I was never a Halo player.
Look, it was successful enough they did make a second season.
Exactly.
But I still haven't watched season 2. But all I know is if it didn't have Pablo Schreiber in it, I would
be passing.
Definitely have quit watching it. Yeah.
I never played the games. Any 3 of these. I mean, I played a little bit of Borderlands, but I never got very far in it because first-person shooter stuff just makes me nauseous. So, but I know of Borderlands. I did like the story, so I'm interested.
It looks neat. It looks like they're kind of true to that bold, vibrant color scheme of the kind of comic booky feel, but obviously it's real life. But,
I know. I'm fascinated because, I mean, I really need to have, I know they have a reference to all the guns and stuff, but I need a lot of different kinds of guns for this to work for me. I know that sounds stupid, but if you never played the game, in the game, there's like an infinite combination of guns. Like that's the whole trick of the game is no matter what happens, they all have different skill points or whatever. And so it's an amalgamation of just everything you could ever want on a gun. It's just so wild. I need some of that or it doesn't feel like Borderlands to me.
Right. Yeah. I think it's going to be a fun movie. I'm looking forward to it.
Out.
Right on. All right. We'll move on to August 16th, where Alien: Romulus shows up. And no, it has nothing to do with Star Trek. While scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station, a group of young space colonizers come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe. Ridley Scott helps out here again, but it's like, how many more Alien movies do we need?
This is one's directed by Fede Alvarez, though, so it is different. He did Evil Dead.
It's a xenomorph. It's a xenomorph. It's a xenomorph. How many xenomorphs do we need to see?
He did Don't Breathe.
He knows how to make
scary things,
create tension in movies.
Sorry,
and that's what makes the first 2 movies work very well, and that's the tension and the anticipation, and he knows how to do that very well.
But I saw the first 2 movies. Do I need a third one of those movies?
Probably not.
Well, we've had 5 since the first one or 2. So
the ones that were good were Alien vs. Predator. So let's keep that thing going.
Sorry, I cut you off. You go ahead and finish August 16th.
Oh yeah, and then we also have Ryan's World, the movie, a Titan Universe adventure that'll be coming as well, and Horizon in America Saga Chapter 2. Yes, because if the first 3 hours didn't bore you, you can go for another 3 here to close out your summer.
Jeez. Come on, don't hate on the Costner yet. Wait until you see it, then hate on it.
This is a different I saw Civil War. I don't need to see this Civil War. This one already played out.
Oh, God. I would love for Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. to do cameos as cowboys. I think cowboys fighting. That would be great.
So, yes, this is the second part of the Kevin Costner saga.
The Alien thing, I'm with you. I mean, Covenant was terrible. But Ridley Scott not being involved actually gets me more interested in seeing this. If it could be more like, God, what was that? There's a game that just came out, like Aliens Fire Team or something. I think it was the name of it. It's just Marines trying to take down the aliens. I would watch one of those. Like, I love the horror aspect of Aliens. And, even brute force can't face an alien civilization because they're just too lethal. I love that concept. I don't need this deep thinking alien that Ridley Scott kept trying to do because it just didn't work for me. This would be, I want to go back to the roots if we're going to do something, but we probably don't need it. No.
I mean, yeah, we probably don't need half of these movies that are here. But
yeah.
I love the Alien franchise. So I'm all about it. I don't like certain aspects of the last, what Covenant, was Covenant the second one, or the Prometheus was the first one?
Yeah, that was one where Charlize Theron decided to run in a straight line. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. The giant donut that was chasing them, and they decided to run in its path instead of picking a side to run to. Still can't get over that.
So funny.
But yeah, in the second one, it was terrible. But yeah, I'm still willing to give it a shot.
Those original movies too are not just the tension and the run away from the scary monster. I mean, there's also the intrigue of the corporation, and what's the corporation want out of all of this, and there's that kind of backstory. So hopefully they can tap into that as well here, because I think that's what makes the second movie work, is like, what about the corporation and what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Bring it on. I'm good.
Okay. Speaking of things we don't need. So on August 23rd, that's when we finally get the unveiling of The Crow. Based on the comic of the same name, a murdered musician known as Eric Draven returns from the dead to save his girlfriend, played by Bill Skarsgård, and it has Rupert Sanders in it. Rupert Sanders directed it. I apologize. And Rupert Sanders directed this one. And I'm going to finish out the other ones, but we also have Slingshot, which follows an astronaut who struggles to maintain his grip on a reality aboard a possibly fatally compromised mission to Saturn's moon, Titan, which sounds fascinating, honestly. Then you have Blink Twice, when tech billionaire Slater King meets cocktail waitress Frida at his fundraising gala. Sparks fly. He invites her to join him and his friends on a dream vacation on this private island. It's paradise. Wild nights blend into sun-soaked days, and everyone's having a great time. No one wants this trip to end, but strange things start to happen. Frida begins to question her reality. There is something wrong with this place. She'll have to uncover the truth if she wants to make it out of this party alive. And this has Zoe Kravitz directing, I believe, and Channing Tatum stars. I'm all in. All in. It's fascinating. But I want to go back to The Crow, and are you guys at all interested in this?
I want nothing to do with it.
Zero. Zip. Nada.
Nothing. Just, yeah. I don't know why they keep trying to... Is that Bill Skarsgård niche? Is just recreating these past properties?
Could be.
I mean, he did it well once, so I guess he's like, if I can do Tim Curry, I can easily do this man who died in the commission of this film. That's the tough part. Like, even the director, Alex Proyas, he's famously said, like, I watched the trailer. I don't get what movie you guys are making. I don't get why it had to be Eric Draven. Leave that character is kind of, let's respect the fact that the man died making it and just pick a different character. Just like there's been lots of other Crow properties, but they were always different characters. The fact they're going back to Eric Draven, I think, is what is pissing a lot of people off.
Yeah, because it sounds like you're remaking.
They are. They are remaking the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just one of those movies I don't think you can remake. And
especially with the stuff surrounding the film.
Yeah. And it is. This is an entity that visits dead people and brings them back to finish out what they need to do. And there's lots of people out there, more than just Eric Draven. So, yeah. Create a different story about it. But sure, there was enough comic books. Surely there's enough material to pull from.
Right. There is. It's too bad.
That's why we'll just go to space and forget it all.
Fine. Yeah. Sounds good to me.
The more I can find out about Titan, the better. I love everything to do with Titan. It's fascinating to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the part that makes me curious is the possibly fatally compromised mission. So what makes it possibly? Is it he's on they're on a path, or is it really going on? Is he really just too much laughing gas or whatever sitting in the dentist chair?
Ladder, a little bit.
Could be. Yeah. Too much anesthesia at the hospital, so he's gone off in some crazy trip in his brain. So I don't know.
So you guys are both on board the Slingshot trip, huh? Sounds good to you guys.
Good enough to check out.
Yeah. Yep, I like anything and pretty much, well, I don't say anything, but yeah, science fiction type stuff, sure.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it's science fiction. Like, we could probably get to Titan at some point in the next 20 to 30 years pretty easily.
It hasn't happened, so it's definitely science fiction.
But the science is there, so it's not fiction.
But it's still fiction.
Humans just can't live that long.
It's not a documentary.
Yeah, it's not a game plan.
It could be, though.
All right, Troy, bring us home. Bring us home.
Before I move on here, have you finished anything with the video game Spider-Man 2?
I have not. I'm still halfway through. I haven't finished it.
All right.
But now I know there's a connection to Titan.
No. There's a connection to Kraven the Hunter.
Oh. Well, I already know
Kraven the Hunter. Kraven's in the game.
Yeah, I know that.
I just don't want to spoil the ending because it might spoil the ending.
Yes, please do not. Do not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. On August 30th, we have Kraven the Hunter. This is not your Spider-Man movie, even though Spider-Man is attached to Kraven the Hunter because he is Sergei Kravinoff and is known for hunting big game, and he considers Spider-Man the ultimate prize. This one is actually really good and even has parts of its story probably tied into Spider-Man 2, the video game, if anybody's played that. So you can check that out as well. Also, the one that I'm looking forward to the most of finishing out our summer Labor Day weekend is Dennis Quaid, wonderful 69-year-old, playing Ronald Reagan from his 30s to his 80s with Penelope Ann Miller as Nancy Reagan and Mina Suarve as Jane Wyman, his first movie star wife. It's going to be a documentary type style on Reagan's life for that 50-year period. Leslie Ann Down also plays Margaret Thatcher. So I'm really curious to see how this plays out because Ronald Reagan obviously was the president of our growing up years and getting us through the Cold War and all that fun stuff.
Well, two things. One, I love how you said Kraven's really good, like you've seen it. but it's a good villain, so I like that. But even better yet is when you pronounce her name. You said Mina Suave or something.
Suave?
Suave?
Is she married to Rico Suave?
Mina Suvari?
Suvari?
I was laughing in my head and I'm like, don't interrupt them.
Just keep going.
But all I kept thinking was Rico Suave.
Suave.
I don't know about the Kraven movie. Honestly, I'd love for that to be awesome. Madam Web was fine. I don't hate it like so many people do, but man, I just don't get what Sony thinks they're doing with this whole Spider-Verse.
My issue is that how much of this is going to be what was in the video game? Like, I've already played the video game. The video game was really good. Just make the video game into a movie.
I don't think any of it, because Kraven in the Spider-Man 2 was very much a villain. They're trying to make him an anti-hero here, which he is not in the comic books, by the way. So that already irritates me. I mean, there's parts in the trailer, and I'm sure they'll explain it, where even though he's a hunter, he has empathy or something for animals. And I'm like, that is not Kraven. That is not that character at all. But we'll see what they do. Mostly, I just want to see Mina Suave's movie.
She is suave. I mean, she was the movie star, you know?
Yeah, American Beauty. She's great in American Beauty. Dennis Quaid, I'll see anything Dennis Quaid does.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Okay. That wraps it up in terms of all the movies that come out. So real quick, we're going to run through this in terms of wrapping it up. Which one movie, this is for Troy specifically, that I point the number one. What one movie are you most looking forward to, Troy? Brian, I know, can get it to one. Troy has a hard time with this.
Well, this one's hard. Like, there's two that are like really good options. I mean, there's really three that are really good options.
Sure. But we've talked about all of them. So just pick one. You can do it. I believe in you.
Everyone's going to say Deadpool because it's Deadpool. I'm really excited for If. I think it's different. I think it's creative. I think it's going to be something special. And it still has Ryan Reynolds, so it's Deadpool adjacent.
Okay. Way to get that honorable mention in there somehow. All right, Brian, what about you? What's your most anticipated?
Yeah, it's Deadpool. Same. Deadpool, yeah. Wolverine.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
do you want...
So Ryan Reynolds wins, basically.
Yes.
The
summer of Ryan Reynolds.
Boy.
And apparently his wife, who's now
she's got a movie coming
out
that no one's going to see because they're going to be too busy watching all of his movies. That sucks. All right. Okay, so here you go. Brian, I'll throw this one to you. What's one specific thing about the summer's films that stood out for you? And it can be however you see it.
Okay, it's 50-50. The number of prequels that are coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like a big summer for A24. Because we talked about them quite a bit.
Yeah, that's true. They're they're on the come up as a studio. They really are. They're finding their footing.
Yep. And to their credit, again, I say a lot of negative stuff about them, but they do take the chances that we ask the bigger studios to take. When you take big swings, you don't always connect with the ball and you strike out sometimes. Or maybe you just get a single or a double instead of the home run. That's the chance you take. And they do take chances, and I admire them for that because it is, again, so many of these bigger ones are just revisiting old properties, trying to revive them, and instead of taking those chances. And when you take those chances, when they do hit, man, is it awesome. So kudos to them. And, I hope they just keep doing what they're doing. Yeah.
Speaking to your point. So if you go through we did a listener poll in our Facebook group, right? To ask them, what are the movies you're most anticipated for this summer, right? Everything's fair game, but the top 5, I'm sure everybody could freaking guess. Number 5, Alien Romulus. Number 4, A Quiet Place, A Day One. Number 3, Twisters. Number 2, The Fall Guy. And number 1 is Deadpool and Wolverine. All of those are known properties. So nothing original even made the top 5.
Nope.
But the first thing people will say, there's too many sequels, there's too many prequels, there's too many reboots, etc. And I'm like, are you going to see all of those original ones that we named? Any of them?
That's a very fair point. I will play devil's advocate with this.
Please do, Satan.
With the new properties that have no previous movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. You don't know. I mean, you just don't know. Now, you have to have a good 2-minute trailer to get people excited about it. But when you've got 2 movies, you got a history of 2 movies already, or a franchise that's lasted over literally decades, it's a little easier to get the anticipation built up for that. And this is what I'm more excited about. Now, you asked that question again in September. What was your favorite movie of the summer? You might get a couple more. 2 out of those 5 might be those A24 type movies because they're surprised. But as far as anticipating for the summer, it's more than likely going to be something you're more familiar with. But
all right.
Yeah,
that's just me thinking.
Quiet Place and Twisters would not be on my list.
I'm really surprised. Quiet Place, you're not excited for at all. You love the first 2 movies.
I love the first 2 movies because of the way they have to maneuver in the environment, because they've been living in the environment for a while. That's why those movies work. Like monster slasher movie.
You don't want to go backwards, is your thing.
I don't mind going backwards and seeing what we like, how we figured out how they're able to work and stuff. But if it's going to be just day 1 or day 1 plus day 2, and that's where they stay for the entire movie, that's not going to be entertaining. It'll be fun for a summer blockbuster, but it won't be entertaining. I mean, if is definitely something that should be on people's radars. What is the difference
between fun for a summer blockbuster and entertaining? Like, those seem like the same things.
Like entertaining in a sense of like, oh, this was a good film. This is a good, like, it left me thinking about something when I left the theater.
You won't just be contemplative.
Shut your brain off at the door and popcorn blockbuster.
I'm not watching that movie to gain deeper insights into life or the universe.
I'm just learning how to shut up.
When the aliens come to Florida, you're fucked, dude. That's all I'm saying.
Bro, the aliens are here, baby. The aliens are here. Trust me.
They're retirees. They've been here a while.
There's more than the retirees, man. I will live stream some crazy mess to you.
But no, movies like If, anything related to the science fiction stuff looks good. There's a lot of other stuff this summer. But the biggest thing I took away is the fact that there is something to watch every weekend. I don't think we've been at a place during the summer where there's actually been a quality film every weekend. So it's nice to see that we're back to that kind of blockbuster summer status. But there's at least something that's either you can go see, your kids can go see, you can go see together for the entire slate from May to September.
What I noticed, same thing. There's a lot of content, a lot of original content. I'm somebody that likes to go see. I want to see the blockbusters. I love the blockbusters. I love just random, idiotic fun. I don't need to think all the time. But I also want something where I can just have an engaging character piece, get something that's more of a thriller, get something that's just a change of pace in the summer, and all of that seems represented this summer, which I love. So I can't wait to see what we got coming. What's the overall verdict on the summer's releases based on what you saw? Great, good enough, or ugly enough to make you go outside and play sports instead? I'm going with good.
Yeah, nothing's going to get me to go
enough.
outside and play sports. Sports ball? No.
All right. Go round robin. Prediction for your biggest hit and the biggest flop. Troy.
No, biggest hit will be Deadpool. Biggest flop will be Garfield.
Ooh. You don't like the kids. All right. Brian.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest hit is, I think it's going to be Deadpool, just hands down. As far as biggest flop goes, I'm going with, I mean, my logic here is the biggest investment versus the least return, and I'm probably going with A Quiet Place day one.
Ooh.
That was my runner-up. I don't think you're wrong.
Okay, well, I'm going Deadpool for biggest hit. Biggest flop?
Sure.
I think An American Horizon is going to be the biggest flop. As much as I wanted to succeed, 4 movies and whatever that frickin' budget had to have been, I don't see it working for mainstream audiences today. If he would have done what we talked about, is just made a series for Paramount Plus, I think this would be a huge hit. I just don't think it's going to be a huge hit at the theater. And I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. I do. I would love for that to be.
It's an ambitious venture for sure.
And so was Wyatt Earp.
I liked Wyatt Earp,
but it didn't connect. I mean,
it didn't. No, I agree.
I like Wyatt Earp too, but it didn't connect.
And had Val Kilmer not just totally just crushed the role of Doc Holliday, Dennis Quaid made an amazing one.
You know what's funny is I've had this conversation before where people say Val Kilmer's best Doc Holliday ever. I'm like, I think more people didn't give Dennis Quaid a chance. Val Kilmer was fantastic. Don't get me wrong. He's more animated. He's definitely more fun.
Charming.
Dennis Quaid gave a better character performance.
100%. Like, he looked like he was about to
die. I was worried about his safety, for sure. Oh, that's it. Hey, that's it. We did it. We got through it. Bam. That's your summer movie preview. And Troy, as always, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Brian, how have you been? Is there any?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming aboard, man, and doing this.
Glad to be back.
You know, we never know when Amanda's going to show up, so it was nice that she was actually going to be here, and I vetoed her. She had a lot of stuff going on. I'm like, go take care of that. That's more important. And Brian was gracious enough to come on, and I got to say, did a lot of research before getting on board. So won't do that again, huh?
No. You know,
I promise we ask you again, it'll be a very easy topic.
I want more details next time. More details. That's all I ask for. Just give me more of what you're wanting.
If you're confused about anything you heard on the show, just call Brian. He's seen every trailer on the list.
Well, at least you got your summer plan now. I mean, there's that.
I'll see you in about a week and a half, and I'm going to punch you in the dick.
All right. Well, on that note, thanks everybody for listening. And remember, if you remember the next time you head to a theater to see any of these fantastic movies that are coming out this summer, at least I hope they are, buy a popcorn. I'm going to go get a cup.
Well, get a cup of you.
Will have Deadpool's mouth on it?
Oh my God. Jesus. Oh, we got to draw the shades. Okay. I didn't know it was that kind of I didn't know it was that kind of podcast.
The bright window was hiding the meter. So
I feel like
the dark curtain gives it.
feel like you're rubbing in the fact that you have
You're the one
sunshine.
in a rape. You're the one in a rape basement. Don't be giving me shit.
If I start doing this, somebody call somebody.
Whatever. I see the GIMP box in the background there. So.
Right.